Yes, the boys are back in town. No Phil Lynott. You're listening to Knock 'em Out the Box, episode 123.
123. And
My
Sap.
name
Got a little whiskey in a jar?
yes,
That's a
indeed.
good mention at the top of the show. I heard
Thank
that
you,
song
thank you.
today.
Thank you. My name is Vinnie Paz. I'm here with my co-host, with the co-most of Mr. Majestic, left, right, left kid, Mr. Brendan Long.
You.
Was that a Philly, yo?
I think that was a New York, Long Island.
That was
Yeah.
a little bit close.
Yeah.
We're also joined for the second week in a row by
That's got to be so obnoxious to people at home listening to me go, yeah.
yeah, I'm sure it is. I mean, you're already obnoxious as it is.
Well, that's not very nice.
Irish William, what's the word?
Yo, yerp.
We're gonna get in. We're gonna start. We're gonna early on get into to to a little sidebar we had, Brendan, uh, of me thinking you may have remushed me again. You may just be a hex. Something that it's this is 123 episodes. I'm not gonna.
Oni Taro's losing his touch.
I'm just gonna flat out say it's been my worst pick in 123 episodes.
We need to make Pazzi great again.
Tony Toka.
We do.
Tony no Toka.
Make Vinny great again.
Yes. I'm spearheading.
If it's Pazzi,
I will spearhead this movement.
Mabuga is make Pazzi great again. Mapuga. What's better, Billy? Mavuga?
I like make Pazzi great again.
Make Pazzi great again, and not you. All right. I guess going from being goofballs to more serious.
Yeah.
Rest in peace, Big George Foreman, two-time world heavyweight champion, Olympic gold medalist, which actually isn't talked about enough when it comes to George. I don't mean it's when people talk about American Olympians, what he became as a fighter, as a pro, and then his comeback, and then the Foreman Grill, and his success story, sort of gets lost a little bit. B.
Soldier mufflers.
Am I off a little bit about the gold medal? I mean, that's.
Or
do you think it's celebrated?
Well, it's the iconic picture of him holding the two small American flags. But yes, because he became bigger than that.
Yes,
he's an American icon.
That's my note. That's to read.
He's a household name.
Yes.
My father was in Italy this week and found time to send me a text that just said, "Rest in peace, Big George."
Look, one of the greatest heavyweights of all time. He retires in the 70s. He only returned to boxing to fund his youth center, which that really tells you.
Yeah.
The Ron Lyle fight might be the most brutal 5 rounds I've ever seen. 1976 Ring Magazine Fight of the Year. What am I? First off, I loved Big George.
68 Olympics.
Hey, I also want to say, B, look, first off, a lot of guys our age, right? We were born while he was mowing through people and was a killer. So I'm not even going to say we're from his generation. We're not.
No.
But guys like Billy, that generation certainly knows him as smiling Big George, selling grills. This is a
Meineke.
This was cross the street if you saw him coming, bad motherfucker. Fro,
yeah,
leather jacket, flat out was saying, I wasn't trying to box you, I was trying to kill you.
Yeah.
This motherfucker.
He's a 5th Ward Houston, tough guy.
This guy's, if he never comes back, he's an all-time great, and his wins are incredible.
Yeah.
I cannot explain enough to you guys who are younger that you wouldn't even recognize who this man was if you go back and watch all the tape you can from the 70s with George. Just a fucking killer and a mean guy and a mean man and a mean guy in the ring. I love,
and part of some of the the terms and sayings of boxing lexicon and lore. Down goes Frazier.
Of course.
That's a George Foreman fight.
That's when George
Rope-a-dope is of course he was on the receiving end of rope-a-dope.
Rumble in the Jungle.
Rumble in the Jungle. Yeah.
Rumble, Young Man Rumble, all of that stuff. The
Yep.
Ale Bomaye, all of that stuff is because of George's greatness. There were people crying, Foreman's going to kill Ali.
Yeah. Yep.
There were people that upset that loved Muhammad. People loved George, but he was such a bad motherfucker.
I mean, when you think about, he was only 5 years into his pro career for that Ali fight, which we've talked about guys like Keith Thurman having a 5-year layoff.
Correct.
You know,
he's 36 fighting cab drivers in Australia.
Right.
And this maniac is 5 years in his career fighting Muhammad Ali on
right.
another continent.
Right. Two Olympians in the biggest heavyweight fight, ever.
Is it still right? It's still got.
Well,
I think
like, back in, way back, Gene Tunney and Jack Dempsey.
Oh, it was like
had like 120,000 people. Yeah. But modern day, or more modern day, I should say. Yeah, at the time it was like the biggest televised fight, I believe.
The numbers are crazy when you hear how many people had it on.
This was like, I believe it was closed circuit. You could go to the movie theater and watch it. But this is just sad. They haven't said how he died. I
was talking to my mama over dinner. I'm like, I saw George kind of recently, looked and sounded just like George, healthy as a horse. I don't know what's more sad, when someone looks healthy and sounds healthy and passes, or you see them and they look horrible. You know what I mean? I hope it wasn't like he was healthy as a horse and he fell and something bad.
How long did he take off for?
10 years exactly. 77 to 87.
87. Wow.
But the beginning of the comeback, babe, those few years, maybe like up until the Evander fight, it wasn't really a big deal. I mean, it was in theory, but they weren't making a big deal about it. And I think it's because Mike was ruling.
Probably because I remember when I was young, I think for my 8th birthday or something, or Christmas, excuse me, I got, when I was in 3rd grade, I got a Sports Illustrated subscription for my Christmas. That was my big. So in '89, when they were trying to, now I think they matched him with Smoking Burt Cooper.
Yes.
And
Philly's own.
I think that's who.
Delaware County, Delco's own, but Philly's own Smoking Burt Cooper.
That cover was George, like the comeback, the whatever, however they phrased it.
Right.
But I remember, and my dad going, I can't believe this guy.
Of course, because your father watched him in his prime,
this
guy's coming back with a shaved head, overweight,
right. He looked
respectfully.
Right.
This was literally the true definition, the true definition. A lean, mean fighting machine. This is a big guy, but
big
shredded.
George.
Yeah. But when he came back and just, had found religion. So you have this different demeanor of a guy who was once a killer. It's really, you use the word, you used the saying American icon. He was, but the story is more incredible than it's looked at as.
I mean, what sport takes 10 years off and then comes back and wins a world title? I mean, it's
before we
incredible.
talk about another guy we lost, let's just real quick. Muhammad Ali, Joe Frazier twice, Evander Holyfield in his prime, Ken Norton prime, Ron Lyle prime, Smoking Burt Cooper. Burt was in his prime. George was old.
Yeah.
Dwight Muhammad Qawi, Jerry Cooney, George Chavallo, Michael Moorer, who was a beast.
Right.
And one of the most famous knockouts. George was down on every card.
He's getting his ass kicked. Yeah.
Tommy Morrison, who was knocking people's heads off, and Shannon the Cannon in his prime, a young.
Yeah, that was Shannon's last. That was Foreman's last fight with Shannon Briggs.
97. That's a prime Shannon Briggs.
Sure. I just saw an interview with Shannon Briggs, and they said, "Who's the hardest puncher?" This is before George passed away.
Oh wow! So he wasn't even motivated by the death to say it. Right,
so they said, Klitschko, Foreman, I can't remember who the other guy they said, and he said, Foreman, I couldn't sleep for 2 weeks after that fight.
Yeah, and guys, that's an old George. That's a 45-year-old guy who was eating
Yeah,
cheeseburgers as his diet.
right.
I love George too, by the way. That's something we didn't talk about. I loved his smile. I loved
Yeah.
him with Lamson
Oh,
and
yeah, he was great.
Larry. I love with the riot at the Garden where he basically saved their lives by being
That
like,
yeah, and
look,
Lamps talks about it.
yes, like, yo, I don't want to, but I'll start fucking people up
Yeah.
because I will.
You don't want to do that, son.
Yes, and that
Yeah.
was the year he fought Briggs. Let's not think that
Right.
George couldn't still ice everybody. George
Right.
was theoretically still active. No, it was his last fight, but he was not that far removed.
Right.
George will kill you with his bare hands. I just what a warm guy. What a warm
What
guy when I met him
sad.
at uh at Ward Gotti too. Like just a teddy bear is the best way I could describe it because guy's giant, you know,
Yeah.
and he's two-time
Really found
real.
peace in life,
Yes.
competing and living in a gladiator sport to get to where he was, or at least it perceived for us
Yeah.
in life, by all accounts, was happy, was wealthy. He initially made $200 million, I just read, off of the grill, and
Yeah.
then sold his name and rights so he didn't have to hawk it anymore for an additional 138 million.
Be a little Pazzy, the endless supply of dumb shit in my brain, just pop culture. Who was offered the Foreman grill?
Hulkamania,
Yep,
right?
turned it
Now,
down.
is that true, or is
Yep,
that
yep.
a Hulk Hoganism?
No, no, no.
All right,
Everything the Hulk says is a lie. That's from like Jimmy Hart. That's from people
right.
who are like
Yeah,
Albert,
I
Eric Bischoff. That's from everybody that was around.
yeah, that
Um,
he didn't believe in it, right, or something, or
he just well he's a more the Hulkster's a moron, so he like didn't take that and took like a juicer or something. It wasn't about
okay,
believing it. He took
yeah,
something
yeah.
dumb, thought that was dumb, and took something dumb. You know what I mean?
It was a
Yes, he
staple
sold it.
in college.
Yeah, I absolutely owned one. Not a type like that. I owned the Foreman grill.
Yeah, remember the rip-off ones?
Yes, yes.
Yeah, it's so funny.
Yeah, you to the 200 million, and then at one point I remember when he had made up to 300 million just off the grill, and him telling Letterman like how much more times money he made with the grill than in boxing.
Then in boxing, yeah,
Even with inflation, like even with
right. Just crazy.
adjusted economics.
Yeah,
George the
he was a
best.
great pitch man.
Yeah, who doesn't love George?
Right.
I was sad. Yo, guys, you may not be familiar. Of course, the hardcore guys will. Livingstone Bramble, Ross I Bramble. Look, man, be a staple in our youth. What we constantly on this show talk about Wide World of Sports. He was a staple on there.
Yep.
Um,
He was a definite Saturday afternoon guy.
right,
You
guys.
know, you often talk about the uh the showmanship in wrestling and how guys borrow from wrestling
Correct.
and
Ali, Gorgeous
right.
George.
Of
Yep.
course, yeah. And
Freddie Blassie.
Bramble is no
No stranger to that.
no stranger, no exception to that. He
The
would
the the
put
the snake
hexes on
around,
guys,
yes,
snake
the
around
snake
his
around
neck.
his neck, guys. It's long been rumored and by some people confirmed that he was heavy into witchcraft and like Santeria and stuff
No,
from the islands.
cast spells on people.
Yeah, and Goozy was gonna fight.
Yeah.
I met him in Vegas in 2016. Uh, it was me, correct, and Iceman, and it 26. So Rosai passed away in his early 60s, I believe, right
Mhm.
now.
Yeah.
So let's say 10 years ago. So he was in his early to mid 50s.
He was
He's walking
65.
around. So
Excuse me.
he would have been about 56 years old when I met him for the first time.
Hmm.
He had the snake around his neck at the Bellagio. I'm like, yo, man, yo, I want to give you that. You know what I'm saying? Because
Yeah.
beat Boom Boom Mancini twice. A
Hmm.
draw with Freddie Pendleton that I thought he won. He fought Obakar, I thought he got robbed in the Obakar fight. Obakar fought everybody. I think he's a guy that I always go back to that makes you smile on this show because we always say Obakar would be a champion in any
Champion.
era
Yeah.
except the one he was
He
in.
fought it.
Big shout out to Rennie from Starkweather who wrote this poor bastard Obakar just fought a murderer's role during Obakar's prime. Everyone was a killer. He's an absolute champion in basically every era, Obakar, except the one,
I just want to touch on some stuff about Bramble. I don't know if you knew this. He was a avid and competitive marathoner.
I did.
Up until recently.
Yeah, I didn't just know that. I heard he was next level in terms of what.
In terms of like a novice marathoner, he's like,
that's what I mean. Like as a non-pro.
Yeah, he's like incredible. Just some funny stuff. His boa constrictor. He had a boa constrictor, a ferret named Spider, and he had a dog named Snake. So he's a character. If you have a dog named Snake.
Yeah. Who told me he had a snake named dog and a dog named Snake?
Yeah.
Someone told me that. Yeah. So I don't know which one's right. Bramble's like one of them dudes that everything's a mystery. The guy's pulling witchcraft on his opponent.
And he wouldn't deny it.
No, he wouldn't deny it. And Ray Mancini, he's a paisan from Ohio. You know, the guy's mother's probably crying that this Black Caribbean dude's putting the Maloiks on him.
She's probably putting them like,
back on him. She had the
him.
rosary beads, throwing the Maloiks on Rasai. Look, he fought everybody, B. If you go through his, Livingstone Bramble fought everybody, a prime young Kosciuszko, and didn't go down.
Right.
A 93 Kosciuszko and went the distance.
Also very heavy-handed guy.
Heavy hands, iron chin. If you look him up and see knockouts, guys, he fought way too long. He's not one of that. Iron chin. He fought everybody, guys. He fought everybody. It's sad. I don't know what happened to Rasai either. To only be, both are young, because to me, as time is moving forward, 75 isn't old, especially when I just saw George looking healthy, and Livingstone Bramble, when I saw him, was like shredded, because like you said, he's a marathon runner. He looked to be in the same shape he was when he was a lightweight beer, when he was at 140, but the goddamn snake around his neck, I didn't want to take a picture with him because I thought the snake would bite me.
You don't like snakes?
A, I don't. B, I certainly don't like being close enough to them where it could bite me. It's around his neck. If I pose up and do the rap pose for the picture, I'm getting bitten in the face by a snake.
That's hard. A pick goes hard though.
And I'm like, and I just talked to Floyd Sr. and took a pick with him, and I'm like, all right, so I got a pick with Floyd Sr. and this Frank Stallone. But I want to pick with Rasai Bramble, but that snake's gonna get me, and you know that maniac doesn't have him defanged.
Did you and Frank Stallone talk Philly?
I made it about that. I was like, yo, what you and your brother did for Philly, and he was like, kind of not trying to have it.
Really?
So I was getting riled up by that.
By this Frank Stallone?
By this Frank Stallone, and his fucking bouffant was voluptuous, voluminous, if you will.
I got to talk about that, about a guy who fought on Saturday. I mentioned it there. But anyway,
this Frank Stallone's outfit was fucking outlandish. The bouffant was like as glory. The only more glorious bouffant I ever saw in person was Chuck Zito. No, yours is you and Pablo are like lower tier, like celebrity bouffants. I'm talking like Liberace, Frankie Avalon. Real work. He was kind of no-selling me, like, about the Philly thing, and I'm like, all right, man. Well, I'm not like
your biggest fan.
Well, no, right. It's like me and you both react to celebrity the same way because of what our jobs are, and we worked at NBC for a very long time, and
you interact with celebrities.
Yeah. So I'm not one of those people who are impressed. It's not out of any sort of
I'm not trying to be cool.
I'm not trying to be too cool for the
I had to do that because you have to make them feel like they're at home.
And I believe you have to do that in my situation too. You don't wild out unless it's someone that's meant so much to you that you want to say, listen, I don't say this to everyone, but you know what I'm saying? And it's like, I've said that to, you know what I mean? But like, that night, it was a Vinny's premiere for Bleed for This, and there were mad people there. Like I hung out with Rey Mysterio because he knows Conan, and Conan's my man. So I was like, yo, I'm friends with Conan at Disco. Boo, 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 boo. You know what I'm saying? And like he was comfortable enough to take his mask off because he had the mask on at the thing. And that's
crazy,
huge deal there.
Yeah,
but I'm like, bro, Frank Stallone, I'm trying to be nice here, Frank Stallone. Don't try to play me, Frank Stallone, because really,
This Frank
Like,
Stallone's trying to play you like you had a flower pot head.
listen, like I'm some kind of onion head. Frank Stallone, let me tell you something. The two things are like the song you did, and you fought like Geraldo. That's like
Yeah,
really
right.
playing. You're
You're
like,
Rocky's brother.
You
Relax.
got
right.
no you got no sold by Frank Stallone.
I'm
Yeah,
not gonna say he no sold me. I was like, yo, I'm really trying to say what your brother did for Philly is a huge thing. That's really what you would say to Sly if you're from Philly. But I got Sly, I got the mutant Sly.
that's Sly's flunky brother.
Yeah, I mean, I was one step away from having this Jackie Stallone be there. You know what I mean? And she's giving me a tarot reading.
I was gonna say she reads your fortune, but you're Tony Tarot. Maybe you read
Right,
her fortune.
right. So
Although I don't know, Tony Tarot.
I think with everybody, the opening salvo is um important to how someone reacts to you.
Sure.
And I can include myself in that. Um, and I thought saying something about a legendary movie such as Rocky and really what it did do for the city and continues to do because of the statue, because the film doesn't fade generation after
No.
generation. You see that little Italian kid doing the whole part from the most recent Rocky movie.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? That
Yeah.
movie's not old. That's relatively
Right.
new, within 10 years. And then Creed was huge, I think.
It
I
was.
think, yeah, I think all this,
All the spin-offs have been big.
so I'm like, listen, Frank Stallone, you got Far From Over. Do you want me to sing it for you, Frank? Or you may not just, but now your dance is over.
I just like that you keep going like, listen, Frank Stallone.
Because I feel like, are you trying to make a jerk out of me, Frank Stallone? Is that what's happening here?
You're not a man in a position made to be looked.
You're not listen, Frank Stallone, you're not in a position right here. And I was fucking suited and booted too. I had on tailored shit, all of that.
Really?
Yeah, me
It's
and this
Frank
correct.
Stallone.
I'm like, correct. Is this Frank Stallone being trying to make a jerk out of me? I don't know that he was, but he didn't sell for it, Billy. He didn't no sell me at totally, but he didn't Ric Flair for me. He didn't Bret Hart. This
All
is
right.
92 Shawn Michaels. Rasai Bramble was a very good fighter. Another guy, B, we always talk about these guys like who just fought in these deadly eras.
Yep.
You know what I mean? He had a bunch of losses, fought everyone. This guy today
Yeah,
is
he was definitely a name opponent, which we call a trial horse or gatekeeper.
yeah. But he was
After a while,
really
it was
good.
really
He was
good.
really good.
Yeah, and again, one of those personalities that the '80s had personalities like that. Where guys were eccentric and they'd get.
Yeah, at the simultaneously you have Rasai Bramble and Jorge Paez and Vinny
Mhm.
Pazienza and Macho Camacho. I mean,
Right.
our era was crazy.
Yeah.
We have numbers. Javante Tank Davis, Lamont Roach pay-per-view buy numbers. I said I'll be surprised if this does 250. The number seems to be pretty solidified at 269,000 pay-per-view buys. Guys, that is not a star. Well, hold on. That is not the face of boxing numbers, guys. Is it a star? Brendan can touch on
Yeah,
that.
it's a star. I mean, nowadays, considering what well, I can touch on this because it's a conversation Correct and I had. How much did that pay-per-view cost? $80, 70.
79.99.
So it's 21 million in revenue from that. Plus, he sold the Journ out. So
Yeah, but now you're getting into this weird thing. Like when you would talk about bands, this band doesn't sell records, but they go on tour and they do well on tour.
like he's like
It's like,
Fish.
yeah, this is Grateful Dead Fish shit here.
Weird, right?
It's weird.
Hmm. It is weird.
I'm just gonna
He's
say
got ride or die motherfucking fans.
yes, and
Like
clueless ones.
one
Like
scroll through Twitter
of
is
his name is
mind
horror. It's a
numbing.
minefield. It's a mind. You're maneuvering through a
Pocket
minefield
watch,
of stupidity.
pocket watching, rule bending, rule ignoring. Look, even if you're the biggest fan of someone, just come out and be like, "Yo, he had a bad performance against Lamont Roach."
Absolutely.
It's weird. It's bizarre. It's
Absolutely. Look, he's been
I
off a
I
year. He's
can't
had some
figure out
problems.
what the deal with certain fans of certain fighters is. Like I said, it makes the Pacquiao Mayweather both sides fans blush
And when
how
you and I
weird
saw,
Tank fans are.
yes, and when you and I sometimes get into tribalism and race and race-based arguments
Right.
on any side, white guys,
Right, right,
Filipinos,
right,
black guys.
right, right.
Well, Tank was fighting a black guy from the
Yeah,
same area,
from the same area.
not the same town, but definitely. What do they call the DMV?
DMV, yeah.
Sure, so they're both from the DMV. So
DC,
then,
Maryland, Virginia. Yeah.
then what does it become? So
I don't know, man. It's so fucking weird. Like,
is it tribalism towards a specific person? Is that what it's
I
becoming?
I don't know, man. It to me, again, it was always strange to me, the like the Pacquiao fans, the Mayweather fans, right? So you would think like, okay, it's Mayweather fans. Naturally, it's going to be African American black guys, right? That are like really ride or die for Floyd. It's Floyd. It's Floyd. It
Sure.
wasn't just them. It was American fans.
Absolutely.
American.
White, black, and Spanish,
Yeah, like
TNT hats,
right.
outfits, that all races,
And then Pacquiao was, believe it or not, what was funny is that was more of like the white honky tribalists were like, I don't care who it is, as long as he beats up this loudmouth black guy.
Correct.
You know what I mean? So Pacquiao's the greatest thing since sliced. God bless you. Greatest
Thank
thing
you.
since sliced bread. And I remember being like, well, I can separate the two, and Floyd's gonna win.
Well, you and I are also can separate when someone's a piece of garbage too.
Right. And Floyd is that.
Right, but as from a fighter, like this guy's really fucking talented. He's also a piece of shit.
He's a
And
piece
we
of
talk
shit.
about it often about every race of guy on this show,
Right,
every fighter
right.
that's a low life, wherever they're from, whatever
Yo,
country.
one of
whatever
my
ethnic
look,
background.
and you guys have heard me talk baseball, and I can't wait. I got a few more days left until we. I saw a funny thing today, and it said, "A few more days left till I lay allegiance to a team and put my life on hold for 6 months." um, um, is one of the most talented baseball players of all time, white guy, is the. If you look at his numbers, is Jeff Kent is arguably the biggest cocksucker ever
Oh,
ever to put a uniform on.
like a horrible human being.
Horrible human
Yeah,
being.
Yeah.
Didn't like black guys,
Yeah.
didn't like the Hispanic guys, wouldn't bow to the Japanese players like every other MLB guy like
Sure.
would,
Bro, it's
you
just
know,
tradition, man.
tradition like
just
and he's like, "Nah, fuck that, I ain't doing that."
yeah.
And then it was like, yeah, I mean, just a human piece of shit.
Yeah. I mean,
Uh,
John Rocker is as much of a piece of shit, just Jeff Kent was so good. You
yeah,
know what I
Jeff
mean?
Kent was so good.
The
Rocker was
Rocker
good for like
stuff,
2 seasons.
right, exactly. Yeah.
But but I can separate the fact that the guy should be in the Hall of Fame.
Sure.
I mean, if they want to say because of how much of a bigot he is, okay, I get it. You know what I mean? They don't want to put him in. But stats alone, Jeff Kent should be there. If they're, I
If
think
we're
it's the
wording
moral,
this,
if the morality clause is what's keeping him out, fine.
right, because
All
is this a meritocracy or is there a morality clause?
Right.
Because on merit, Jeff Kent was a gun.
He's the best offensive second baseman of all time. It's not even, it can't even be questioned. But he couldn't stay on any team.
When you are on that many teams and you are the best of all time at a position,
And they keep shipping you.
and they keep look, this guy's a cancer, and we got to
get him out of here.
Everyone wants to strangle him in the fucking dugout.
And him and Bonds got into a fight in the dugout with each other.
Yes, yeah, another prick. So imagine
Another
that.
prick.
I don't know who put that fucking idea together to think that was going to work.
Has Bonds kind of redeemed himself though? Not to get too far off topic and rant. I think he has. Like,
I'm a wacko that never hated Barry.
You never hated Barry Bonds?
I liked him on the Pirates.
Pirates, yeah.
He was he never touches gas. He hits 330 and 30 a year. If he never touches it, and he's a first ballot.
It's that 98 run, with McGuire and Griffey. He's like, you guys. Well, I don't know if Griffey was on it, but McGuire and Sosa. Yeah, that's what it was. It was Sosa and
it seems to me, B, and we both know people who like live baseball, that a lot of people's thing is the lying and lack of accountability from a Palmeiro. Remember Palmeiro sat at that fucking thing pointing his finger.
Yeah, I have never touched. Yeah,
right. And I think that really turns people the wrong way. Like, because we're talking about how we're capable of separating things.
Yeah.
I think I must have always been like that. You know, like I didn't grow into that personality trait. I think I was always like that guy, meaning a rapper. That guy's a piece of shit,
But he's
he's
a
one
good
of my
rapper.
favorite rappers. So
Yes.
okay,
I think I've always been that way as well, where you're just like, this guy's a shithead, but
yeah.
he's great.
And then with Bonds on the gas, I'm like, well, everyone's on the gas from that era. You had Ryan Braun hitting 7,000 home runs.
Right.
If everyone's on the gas,
Well, like look at the Mitchell report. It's all those guys. I mean, even the pitchers, right? Roger Clemens, Andy Pettit. So if these guys wanted to compete, they had to be on it. But anyway, not to get too far into the minutia of that.
yeah. Okay, let's go on.
Yeah.
So yeah, guys, that's the
Sorry,
first bit
guys.
of news. 269,000 pay-per-view buys. I disagree with Brendan. I think he's putting a lot of stock in his knowledge of television into this, which is fair. The climate has changed. So I think that's why
Yeah, I mean, I want to see the next. I'm not impressed.
269,000
See, I'm not impressed by
buys
the
for
numbers, but I
Canelo.
mean, fuck, man, no one's watching this shit anymore. Any sport.
If
So what I
Canelo
want to
does
touch on,
269,000 buys, everyone in the sport is talking about the how it's the most colossal failure in 25 years.
you're not,
if he
you're
does
not,
those
you're
numbers.
not, you're not off there.
So let's keep the same energy.
So
Is all I'm
the
saying.
expectation for each guy is different. Canelo being so okay. So let's just put it into top 5 perspective, right?
Yeah,
The excuse me, the heavyweights.
yeah,
That's its own thing because people tune in for that, right?
it is.
Then Canelo as a tier, Canelo in the heavyweights, right? Top
I
tier.
think that's fair. I think that's
And
fair.
then we would say Tank would be second tier. Second tier used to be 750 to right 500 to 750.
I'd say
Top
500,000 to 700,000 was the second
top
tier.
tier would be 750 to 2 million or 1.5 million.
Yeah, yes, agreed. Agreed.
So
with
now
all those
we're
numbers.
down at like I think Canelo did 650 in his last fight, right?
Correct.
So that's where we're at. Like the benchmark now is what used to be the second tier. The third tier pay-per-views.
They've all moved. They've all
moved.
shifted. They've all
And now,
shifted.
do you think this is piracy or this is availability?
Well, that goes into a lot of what you have a knowledge of.
I don't. That's
You do though. You do understand the landscape has changed, bro. You worked at NBC for years. The landscape. There's people who are like,
landscape.
yeah, I don't have cable. A lot of
A
people.
lot of
"Yeah, I
people,
don't have
right?
cable." I'm
So,
like, huh?
well, like, so, okay. So I'm talking to our friend Correct the other day. Shout out to Correct. He was
What up,
at
bro?
the Sebastian Fundora Chordale Booker fight. And he said, Brendan, there's no one here. I don't know how PBC is going to survive. They're giving out tickets on the casino floor. And I said to him, this was my response. And this is not that Correct doesn't understand boxing. This is not what I'm saying here. I said, take into account Sebastian Fundora is from Coachella fighting a guy from Connecticut. Jesus Ramos is from Arizona fighting a guy from Argentina. Terrell Gausha fights out of Encino, California, and he's fighting a guy from Phoenix. What the fuck are we doing on this fucking card? Not one person would. They had. Vegas should be reserved for superstars, right? Sebastian Fundora, Chordale Booker only got made because, and I guess I'm not trying to jump into this. I'm just trying to give perspective on my opinion on what's going on. I think it's bad business with these guys. Now, did they have this Fundora date locked for Errol Spence, and that's why he fought there? Because if you guys remember, Booker's a replacement.
Correct.
Because Errol Spence didn't feel it was necessary to take the fight. And as far as I'm concerned, I'm going to go ahead right now and say Errol Spence should shit or get off the pot and stop dangling the carrot in front of PBC. Where it's like
I've said I believe he's done, but you want
I agree with you.
No, I know. But
I want him to say it.
You want him to say it, which
Well, what the fuck is he doing?
I didn't say that, and I should have when I said I think yo, my guy, like your name's still floating around. No, we don't want to. It's like I feel the same way about the Charlos.
Right.
You know what I'm saying?
So my point is.
Well, can I say something really quick?
Absolutely. Did they real quick though? Write us at kotbboxing@gmail.com if you know this, kotbboxing@gmail.com, because I didn't do my research. But was this venue booked for Fundora Spence? Because, hey, we're talking about a totally different.
So you're leading me into what I was going to say anyway. So
Go
you
ahead,
did a
Vin. Sorry.
perfect setup, a perfect alley-oop. Mandalay Bay is like a 12,000 cap. That's like
It's a big fucking venue for boxing.
yeah, man. So I'm going to go ahead and answer it, but without the data to support it and say it had to be. That
Had to be, right?
It had to be Errol Spence Fundora in Vegas for Mandalay Bay. They changed the name to something weird now that again, we're going to call it Home Depot forever.
Right.
It's something weird like Michelob Light, blah, 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 blah.
Right,
But it's
right,
Mandalay Bay, guys. 12,000 people. I go, this card is a nice little Friday night fights in a 2,500, 3,000 cap.
So how weird is this, right, Vin, for this card? Fundora Booker is a unified 154-pound champ that no one gives a shit about in Fundora. He's got 2 belts.
And it seemed like for a minute people did care. And that's more odd.
And then he got knocked out, right?
Correct. But doesn't that on some level be, or is it just 2 guys?
Well, not knocked out. He lost, right? Or did he get knocked out?
No,
he got knocked out. Yeah.
By Brian. Was it Brian?
Yeah. Yes, he got KO'd by Mendoza. Yep.
Right. So his stock was on the rise.
Michelob Ultra Arena.
Yeah. His stock was on the rise. This is a unified belt. Do people know Chordale Booker? No. Do people know Guido Schramm? No. Do people know Elijah Garcia? They wanted it to be that. Terrell Gausha is really good, but you know, he loses against elite guys, but he's not a draw per se.
No.
You know,
we know him.
We know him, but we're weirdos. What we didn't bring up is, wait, hold on, because you and I didn't know that Mandalay Bay was called Michelob, da-da-da, or I would have said to you, or you would have said to me, wait a second. Chordale Booker, Sebastian Fundora is at Mandalay Bay?
At Mandalay Bay.
We both would have said, wait, hold on, that's a 12,000 cap. What's going on here? And then you would have said, but this was supposed to be the Spence fight. Did they lock this date down? And guys, we don't have to tell you this, but these things are done months and months.
Yeah.
And when I tour, guys, I don't just drop the dates and it starts being discussed 6, 8, 9 months up, but sometimes over a year.
Right.
Sometimes over a year. So,
especially if PBC, what it seems like, is putting a run together of of bookings. Yeah,
they are absolutely they are.
Right.
Yeah.
So they're gonna. I mean, I think this is their last chance, but I don't really blame PBC per se for this.
No,
you know, where we've killed them in the past.
Yeah,
I think that this is
good, but I'm not going to kill them. But it's not good to have a couple thousand people in a 12,000 cap, which we're not playing guessing games here. We had a friend there that was telling us live the smoke thing that when the fighter comes out, correct, kept filming these people were sitting next to it and they kept getting hit with the smoke and they were really mad. And he kept sending me videos. It's pretty brilliant.
It's funny.
Yeah, and it was empty as fuck. You know, I mean, you can do what you can do on TV. You're paid.
Well, so he's correct is coming out to AC. So he said, I hope AC is going to be, and I said, it will be. And that was where I kind of went into, I said, AC is a de facto home for any Philly fighter.
Correct.
So you have a Philly.
Always has been.
Always will be.
Always will.
You know, right.
Right.
So you have a hometown guy as the main event. Yeah, people are going to drive, what is it, about 45, 50 minutes for you guys to get to
45 minutes. 45 minutes.
That's not a huge ask for your fans. No. And we're at the 2 Boots fights at Wells and it was packed.
Yes.
You know,
and Boardwalk Hall is smaller. A smaller venue. It's better, it's a great boxing venue. I don't mean that in a negative way. I mean, they're just bringing it to a fight city.
Sure.
You know, okay. Igis Klimas has said that he believes Vasil Lomachenko would be the best opponent to fight Tank. So I said to you, I have a feeling that he's going to say something soon. And I told you, I don't know if it was on air, definitely in private, that I thought he was either going to retire or push for the Tank fight. I don't know what does Tank feel like at 37, 38? This is the version of Lomachenko he can fight because
Hmm.
he look. We talk about fans. This is historically too, guys, not just right now. Talking about this guy ducked this guy ducked this guy. It's just a part of the game.
Hmm.
This has been an active ducking situation since 2016. At at a certain point, to keep him in line, Floyd was threatening Tank
Yeah,
with
with
Lomachenko
Loma.
when he would
Yeah,
act up, whatever that means, guys. I'm not talking about the law. I mean, if Floyd didn't like something, it was basically like, okay, we'll lock up this Lomachenko fight next, instead of
do you think
black.
this is Klimas just like telling Loma to shit or get off the pot? Like
They're really close. Almost. I wouldn't want to say father and son because Loma's real father is his hero, but he's almost like an uncle. So
yeah,
I don't know. Or is he telling someone to shit on the pot? Is he telling
yeah,
Tank? This is it,
right,
man. Like, look, I'm paid. I'm a superstar where I'm from. I'm a star in other places. I have enough money. I have endorsement deals. If this is a monster fight, we'll take it. If not, do we care about the Keyshawn Davises of the world? Taking nothing away from Keyshawn. I'm just throwing out a lightweight,
correct.
meaning these other guys that have belts at 35 that me and you say, guys, unify. None of them, I don't think, are having Loma horny to get into a camp if they
Yeah.
think the it's a payday.
Mm.
I don't know, Brendan. I don't know. I
All
mean,
right,
to me,
it's weird.
it's weird. Emmanuel Navarrete will defend his WBO super featherweight world title against Charlie Suarez from the Philippines. He's 18-0, 10 knockouts on May 10th in San Diego. Zaur Abdulayev versus Raymond Morataya for the IBF interim lightweight belt, also on the card. So who at light? That's the Loma belt, I guess, because Loma hasn't fought, right? Didn't he
Mhm.
beat up Cambosis for
For the
that
IBF.
belt? So I guess the year of inactivity, they're just calling the interim. Um, Zaur Abdulayev got beat by Devin Haney. That's his lone loss. Um, because of my feelings on Devin Haney, it leaps out at me, whereas it
Mhm.
wouldn't to someone else. You know how we call things good
Yeah,
losses?
Raymond Murataya is a Golden Boy fighter, or is he a top rank
I
fighter?
think a top rank fighter.
Okay.
Yeah, I
Yeah,
think
they got to
so.
do something with him.
I mean, I guess an interim belt's one step in the right direction. And then if Loma goes, I'm out, I guess that they become the real guy.
Yeah.
No? Or no, if they fight Tank, if Loma and Tank fight, then no, they're not going to want that to happen. They're going to want it to be for the IBF. And what does Tank have, the WBA or the BC? One of them.
Yeah.
Yeah. Uh, Brendo's guy, Jay Apatite, will defend his ring and IBF cruiserweight world titles against Claudio Squeo on May 13th, in the Gold Coast of Australia. I don't care about anything until we get Jay Apatite, Zordo.
Hmm.
For either one of them, by the way. That's not a shot at Jay Apatite's fighting who they put in front of him. And just this week was like, no, the fight to make is Zordo. So to
Hmm.
me, I don't know how or why that's not happening. B, do you have
Yeah,
any?
I have no idea. I thought that was going to happen. We thought that was going to happen.
We did.
Davis
This,
says the WBA.
this is okay. That's what I thought. This is no shock. We've been waiting for it to happen. I honestly thought it should have happened earlier. Honestly, WBO president Gustavo Oliveri has confirmed that Bud will not return to Super Welter and will relinquish the belt. You and I are saying it, bro. If you're going to 68,
Right.
you're a gun. You're a pound for pound guy. No one cares. So the WBO have now officially ordered Fundora to defend his WBO super welterweight world title against Xander Zayas. The parties have 20 days to reach a deal before the bout goes to purse bid. So what happens there, B? Who bids
I
on
don't
that?
know.
Is
So
that
is there like a
PBC?
right? Is there a cold war with that? Does Top Rank put? They're not going to put Zayas on loan.
Not, no, no. You're correct.
Is Top Rank comfortable enough. I mean, they're going through some issues right now. We didn't really report on it, but um,
It's not good, man.
no,
It's really not good for a few things, right? That PBC showing wasn't good.
no,
Again, we're not pointing them out. We're just saying a few thousand people at Mandalay Bay is not good.
no, and we've said like, where does Zayas go from here? Him and Fundora posed
We
for a
kept
picture
saying
after the
it. We
fight.
kept saying it. What we kept calling for is we Joe guys. We know it can sound cruel or crude. The loser leaves town match. We were saying have Vito Milnicki and Zayas fight,
Yeah,
and that guy can fight a Fundora. You know what I'm
right.
saying?
And then
Or
Milnicki drew because he says he can't
correct,
make 54.
correct,
So
correct,
if
correct.
Zayas gets a shot at Fundora,
Yes.
I
I mean,
mean,
20 days is not. I mean, they want to fucking wrap something up and get it
yeah,
done for the summer.
I mean, I'm usually wrong about this stuff, but I don't see Top Rank making that fight. I don't see them making that.
I don't see this fight
And
happening.
I don't know enough about that stuff in
Well,
boxing
well,
to
here's
know.
something we do know about. Both of these promotional entities aren't in the greatest positions.
No.
Does that lend, excuse me, does that lend itself to the fight not happening more because they're both more protective of their
Well, it's like,
respective fighters, or a higher chance because they're both in what we're referring to as trouble without saying too much?
well, the thing is, it's like
At least trouble right
if
now.
it's a big risk, right? So if PBC invests in the fight and then
Right. Fundora gets sparked out.
right,
Right. You got a guy's got a belt.
they have no rights to Zayas,
Right.
and
And they lost their
top
two
top
belts.
ranks put a ton of money into Zayas.
They have.
So are they going to now say, all right, we'll make the fight. We think he can beat Fundora, get these belts.
Can we
Are
get
they-
this fucker on loan? We'll be the ones to do that. We'll
yeah.
give you this much.
And I don't think that they're confident enough that he can beat Fundora at this point in his career.
Brendan, you said flat out that
So that's why I don't
the,
think this
the
is going to happen.
the on loan thing is something that these guys will mull over when it makes sense.
Right.
Yo, right now we're forced to pick. I go, I don't know. Fundora could beat shit down Xander Zayas' leg, or Fundora could get clipped with a right hand, because we're
Right.
gonna
I
get
don't,
into that.
yeah. And
We're gonna
I
get
don't,
into that.
right. And I don't know how much Fundora has left with PBC and how much Zayas has left with Top Rank.
I don't either.
I am sure Top Rank locked Zayas up
This Zayas
for
is
a
until
very
he's
long time.
this Zayas is until he's older than Miguel Cotto.
Right.
Now, I don't mean then.
Every single prospect that Top Rank brings along like this and showcases,
Yeah, Cranky Bob is got them locked up.
locked up.
I'm sure Keyshawn's locked up. You know what I
Yeah.
mean? Hey, this news, I love giving you news to get you angry, but we're also gonna have to hold our tongue because it's part of the second part of the show. Richardson Hitchens will defend his IBF super lightweight world title on June 21st in New York City with George Kambosos, the preferred opponent, Eddie Hearn says.
God. Yeah.
I love this next bit of news. I guess it doesn't matter that I love it because this is not gonna fucking happen. It's just
Okay.
not, because no one wants anything to do with this maniac. Bakr Mortalazayev calls for a WBC, WBO, and IBF super welterweight world title unification with Sebastian Fundora. They better keep Sebastian Fundora
Yeah.
far away from this motherfucker, because you want to talk about a motherfucker that's all risk, no reward. He's a mental patient. He'll beat
Yeah.
shit down your leg. No one knows who he is. He'll kill you. He'll skin you. He'll eat you. So
Listen, he does have to fight somebody though.
he
Like,
does, but he's in a position of, I don't know, man. You guys
yeah.
got to make the fights. Who will fight me?
right, but he's just got to take some fights. He's got to, I think they offered him a couple names and he's like, I don't know who these people are. Like, this isn't a big name. Dude, just get in there
He better get
and
in
knock
there,
him
and he
out.
better get in there in the front of eyes in the U.S.
Right. And sometimes in this, especially in this sport,
Hey, how about what the Wolf is doing? He just keeps
right,
saying yes
just
to
kick,
fights in Montreal, and they're
right,
aired in the U.S. And
just kick the shit out of people and make a name for yourself that way.
highlight reel knockouts that go.
Right.
There's no more. the old guard that Brendan and I stand by would say Sports Center top 10. Now you'll see it on IG. This guy got
Right.
sparked clean out. Do that enough, and people go, "Who's this motherfucker?
Right.
Is this
I want to
a
watch him.
Triple G type guy?" Because that's what happens when you're from that area and you're white. Is this going to be? Is this like a Triple G guy?
Right.
You know, and you go, "Yeah, maybe." We don't know yet. He's not.
Mhm.
We don't know yet. Lastly, this just actively angered me. This is how we're ending the news. Keyshawn Davis is reportedly in talks to defend his WBO lightweight world title against Edwin De Los Santos next,
Yeah.
according to Samson Lukowitz. Now, Lukowitz is known for throwing shit out there.
Yeah.
Look, if there's an ounce of truth, this is a fucking awful fight. This Edwin De Los Santos had a shot to prove to us against Shakur, not to win, but to show us that he had some fucking balls, a set of
Yeah.
cojones on him, and did nothing to make me say, "Hey, the guy lost, but I want to see him again." I think we actually were writing each other. I don't want to see this guy again. Now he's getting a title shot against Keyshawn, who's been A, mowing people down, and B, is in a division with 3 other champions. Okay, fair game. I'll give you one. Lomachenko doesn't count right now because it looks like he's going to do one of 2 things: retire or try to get the Tank fight at 38 or whatever it is. There's 2 other guys there, Brendan.
Mm-hmm.
You know, in Tank Davis and and Shakur. They said they won't fight each other or something because how close they are.
Yeah, I just saw an interview.
Do I have to get Edwin De Los Santos though, Brendan? I can't get like.
Right.
There's no way he's top 10, is there?
Let's see. I'm gonna look him up now. Keep going. No, he's not. I think he's
Well,
inactive because he
okay,
hasn't fought since the Shakur fight.
Hey, this is part of our what's it
Yeah,
called?
no, he's not. He's not in the top 10.
Our reviews, but it actually should be a piece of the news. So you know what I'm saying? I'll end the news with this.
I just saw I just saw an interview and we'll move on with
Okay.
Keyshawn and Zab were on there's a guy, internet guy, Mill City Boxing. He's popular. I'm sure people who listen to this show also follow him. But he has a ton of guests on. He has Zab on a lot, and Zab and Keyshawn were on. So Zab
Okay.
is talking about making the Mayweather fight, and he's like, "Yeah, we were like close, like you guys are." You know, and he's like, "Yo, but it wasn't your families didn't feel a certain way." He's like, "Yeah, of course they did, but this is boxing, and we're close to this day now." You know what I mean? But for those 6 months when we made that fight, we weren't close. You know, we were going to go do battle. And he said, people still come up to me and ask me about that fight today, and it's damn near 20 years old. Zab was telling Keyshawn, you got to make that Shakur fight. If you guys are 1 and 2, all this like, yo, you guys got to compete. And it's what me and you talk about. Like, you don't get to choose, you know, if you're in the NBA finals, who you want to play. Cause, you know, maybe the Celtics like the Lakers that year.
Yeah. Did I don't know. Did like Jalen, so if Jalen Hurts and Mahomes are homies, they just we're not gonna do the Super Bowl. Just the
Right.
teams below us.
Precisely.
So we're 1A and 1B.
Right.
All right, 2A and 2B will play the Super Bowl.
Right. So he said, like, no, you got to make that fight. And Keyshawn at first was sort of like, kind of being like, nah, man, you know. And then at the end of he was like, damn, you know, like that's cold blooded. And Zab's like, it is what it is, but we made for a classic night that people still remember, you know, and it was a great fight. And that's what he says, you know. And
Look, the only time I ever accepted it, Brendan, was the
it was like the Klitschko's.
and the promising your mother and stuff. That's very deep stuff. Okay.
Well, I mean, they're actual brothers. I still think that they should have fought. It would have been fucking awesome. Just the, you know.
I don't disagree. But the thing that kept being repeated to me by people in the know was they promised their mom. And I don't play around with mom stuff.
Okay.
If that part isn't true, they should have punched each other in the face for 12
Right in the
rounds.
fucking mouth.
If their mother said, guys, just promise me this. I love you. You're good kids. Thank you for everything. But just promise me that. And it really was, that's what I've been told. No problem. But
I had my fingers crossed.
yeah, right. Mother, now you're dead, but I cross finger.
I cross finger.
So listen, this I had this as part of our coverage of the Zone Saturday morning from Sydney, but it really is part news. As of Friday, meaning the day before it, the day before the fight, Kambosos had only sold 1,200 tickets in a 20,000 seat venue, which would be 6%, which means 94% of the tickets remained unsold going into
Why
the
did
day.
they sign him again?
I asked you, and then you asked me last time. I go,
Right.
what is
Well,
happening
I
here?
had heard that like, and I think
You
that
were telling me that he does numbers, and then those places would,
that was what I read, that he does
yeah,
numbers.
but you fucking watched the same fights I did. There
I
was
know.
no one at any of them in these massive places that look like what's Jerry World's real name? What's it really called?
Dallas Cowboy Stadium.
Is that what it's actually
I
called?
think so.
Like on
Yeah.
paper? Like it's I think that holds 100,000 if you allow it, if you open it up, whatever
Yeah.
that's called. It would be like having
Bro,
5,000.
I don't know what this Cambo like. All right, you want to just get into it? Like,
All right,
obviously,
so
worst to first is really nothing to break down. He fights an Australian national champion that no one's ever heard of in Jake Wiley, and he's now tweeting that he looks sharp. He's ready for Hitchens, and he's sharp as fuck. He says when he's showing his combos that he throws, he's. What did I tweet? What did I text you the other day? I said boxing makes me happy. Watching George Kambosos
box
makes me mad.
makes me mad. It was a pretty good bar. It's early in the year, so I'm not gonna give it dart of the year yet, but it was up there. We're talking about boxing. Look, this Jake Wiley was fucking landing right hands on the button. The kid
Yeah,
absolutely came to win. He absolutely won rounds. What was he ranked again? You read the boxer, it was like
it's
163 or something. Or
yes.
63. I could be making up.
No. He's not in the top 100.
Um, you know, I like an underdog story, and I like more what I saw from Jake Wiley than
Oh
Kambosos.
God,
He can't beat anyone at 35. He can't beat anyone at 40. That
he's gonna go up to fight a big 40-pounder in Hitchens. I hope Hitchens gets the stoppage and we don't hear about Kambosos. Sorry to the guys at Matchroom. This was a bad signing. I think that they thought they would kind of get something with him in terms of like some sort of draw at least, but he's just not good.
How about this kid that's got the two names, Terra Moana, Terra Moana? That's
Oh
his name.
yeah, the
Yeah,
heavyweight.
yeah. You know, I just chuckle when these promoters say stuff, and Eddie doing that. He's a future heavyweight champion. It just made me chuckle. It's the only reason I wrote the thing down. The kid's big, strong kid, incredible personality, good kid. He gets hit, so maybe he'll make for some fun fights where it's just that kind of
Did you
guy.
see the guy who's fighting?
Yes, the Singh guy, the overweight guy. Yeah, it
Yeah,
was.
he's fighting
Yeah.
a big fat
No,
guy.
I gotta chuckle when you say this guy's a future heavyweight champion. It's like, bro, do you have like does anyone I'm not pointing anyone out, right? It's just a genuine general a sweeping generalization. Does anyone does anyone say anything they mean? Like it's just like a club fighter guy,
Yeah,
you know? Like
he's
and
yeah.
you're calling I don't know.
I didn't get. I'm not hotsy totsy from. All right. So what? Kambosos is going to move on to lose to Hitchens. That'll probably be Hitchens. I'm thinking last fight at 40.
Well,
Right.
I'm gonna just say this to you, and it's gonna make you mad. And Hitchens just does what Haney did to him, and we see him again, meaning Kambosos.
Oh no. Well, hopefully he stops
The
him.
way you rid yourself of vermin that you dislike in this sport is someone just gets dog walked, and they're, you
Yeah.
know what I mean? They're.
I noticed Kambosos' face has been breaking up more than it used to. So maybe
How
Hitchens
about
cuts
this?
him.
Jake Wiley was fucking punching him in it.
That's what I'm saying, and it's busting up. He had a cut. Uh,
Yeah, and then a headbutt caused the cut. Yeah, it's
yeah,
just
whatever.
this is yeah. I don't care. I don't really care. And I think it's weird. I'll tell you why I don't really care. And there seems to be this tone in our voices. I don't want to speak for you. I just wanted to see Richardson Hitchens fight someone better. So it's
Me
like
too.
now I have to wait however many months, I guess upward. So if that's June, that's 3 months, then
Yeah.
another 4 or 5 or 6 after that. So we're gonna have to wait basically to the holidays to see Richardson Hitchens against a guy. I'm being serious. Maybe Halloween or something. So we see Richardson Hitchens like, all right, all these guys are kind of around 140.
Yeah, you know,
on
and
that
I'd like
ring
to see
card.
Richardson Hitchens fight in New York,
Me too.
and
Me
I don't want to
too.
see him against Cambosis.
Yeah.
Maybe if
All
the
right.
card is stacked.
We joke with the worst to first. Look, Mandalay Bay, Amazon Prime, Saturday night. Terrell Gausha, Elijah Garcia.
Bro.
We said picking Terrell Gausha as a bounce back fight was bad. We said that. We both said Terrell Gausha is good. He put Garcia down in the first and proceeded to just give him a lopsided, one-sided beating. I had it 98-91 for Terrell Gausha.
For Gausha.
It wasn't close. It wasn't difficult to score. I look, Garcia's head was on the line all night. Gausha kept throwing a short, crisp 1-2 that couldn't miss.
Bro, Gausha was throwing 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. You
Sure.
know, I mean,
These judges continue to turn in egregious cards. The commissions, the promoters continue to bring them back. Nobody cares. You could tell by Terrell Gausha's body language standing there that he was expecting this.
oh yeah, he just
It was
walked
no,
out too.
yeah, it wasn't a storm out like cursing.
No, it was that.
It was
Whatever.
a cool walkout. I don't even get mad anymore, B. It's just disgust at this point.
So Don Trella scores at 90. Fucking get rid of Don Trella. Don Trella scores at 95-94 for Garcia. Zachary Young scores at 96-93 for Garcia. And Chris Migliori scores at 95-94 for Gausha. Listen, that's about as big or bad a robbery in terms of a decision that you're going to see. How they came up with those scores, especially with the knockdown, is beyond me. This was not just what you were saying, where he's rattling off shots. He embarrassed Garcia. He was
agree.
sidestepping him, countering,
Yeah.
walking him into punches,
Yeah.
walking himself out of trouble.
He gave him a boxing lesson, boxed his ears off, whatever old trope you want to use. Just
Right.
Complete, great word. He embarrassed him. He made it look like.
I mean, I think it was the 8th or 9th round. He stepped to his left and Garcia just kept coming forward, and he rattled off a 3-piece combination on the side of his face, which I thought that the referee was going to stop it there. Like Garcia looked
bing, bing, bing. Those, yeah,
beat to shit.
Had nothing, beat the shit. Was walking in. He was walking him in the shots when he wanted to. He was leading when he wanted to. Guys, we've talked about him a lot of times because he's fought. Losing to elite guys doesn't make you 10 levels below elite. He's really good. He just couldn't eke by those elite dudes. We talk about these fighters, these Obakar type guys,
Yeah.
this of that, of a newer generation.
He knew that he needed a knockdown.
He needed a knockout to get a draw.
These
cards were filled out before this card. When you said, I don't know how they came to this conclusion.
Yeah, that's a good point.
That's honestly, that's to me the only way you can get to these cards is these scorecards were filled out before the bell went ding. That's all I can come up with. Jesus Ramos versus Guido. Oh, Emmanuel Schramm.
Ming, this Guido Schramm. Did you see the Buffon? We were talking about Bouffons.
What a fucking
this kid's hair.
On this guy.
Oh my God! By the way, I said the correct. I said this guy's a handsome devil. This Guido Schramm.
Fucking Schramm.
This Argentine handsome son of a gun.
This guy's got an Italian
first name,
like a German, a German last name in the middle could be either Italian or Spanish or Argentinian. Look, it doesn't happen often, but every now and then you get
I said the correct. I said that's Senor Steal Your Girl.
Wow. Wow. Senor. Yeah, if we see him again, that's how he's referred to.
Yeah.
Every now and then you get a really fun fight that's one-sided. And that's how I felt about this. It was fun while it lasted. Schramm is tough as a $2 steak. In the 7th, this Ramos landed a left hook that had him Square Street. Mark Nelson, who looked exactly like Paul Giamatti, jumps in and stops it. I'm not mad at the stoppage. He legit was out on his feet.
Yeah.
You were very no. Let me step this back. I was gonna say very. You weren't very. You were critical of Jesus Ramos
At
against
60.
Jason Rosario at 60. What are your thoughts on this
Well,
performance?
so
What are your thoughts?
Schramm is technically a late replacement,
Yeah.
and it's a stay busy. Let's be honest.
Sure.
He's
He
there to
just
look
fought
good.
50
To,
days ago, I think.
right, yeah, and to pump up Ramos. I like Ramos's activity.
I
Get
do
him
too.
back in there. I don't care who it's against when they do it like this. Um,
Well, when you say that, we do say that often. When you stay busy, we're less critical of you. But do you
right.
want him in there with a guy who we know,
Next, yeah.
an ex?
Ramos is 23, looks like he's 33.
Yeah.
So I give him a pass on a lot of stuff. He looks sharp, much sharper at 54. He's a big 54.
Okay. How
Uh,
about I'll throw a name at you? I know your answer because you have specific views on it. But do you put him in against a J Rock,
yeah, that level.
that level guy? So you
Not
make
necessarily J Rock, but
right,
yes, that
right,
level.
right. Yeah.
Yep.
I
You
agree.
put him in again. That's if this is where we're at with the J Rock level guy as your trial horse. That's you. He needs a trial horse now.
Agreed. I
He,
think he
he
looked markedly better at back down at 54. Is it
Oh,
because
so
Schramm
he's looked
foul?
good against Erickson Lubin at 54, former title
We
contender.
both thought he won. We both
Thought he
thought he
won.
won that fight.
And now he's looked good against, I don't think
This
Guido
guy
Schramm.
Guido.
Yeah. Besides his hair, that's his best attribute.
Right.
Um,
But this kid comes forward. He's probably always going to be in fun fights.
Ramos is a good counterpuncher too. He does well. I hate the white gloves. I've said it on the show a million times. I loved his lime green outfit. He looks sharp. But again, so I'm looking at this card. I'm going over this card. Garcia and Ramos are both from Arizona. I know it's not far from Vegas, a couple hours, right? And Fundora is from, I believe Fundora's Mexican American. I'm not sure, uh,
Yes.
or at least half. Um, we couldn't have put this card in Phoenix, but again, I think we said it had to be because
It
of the
had to
booking.
be. It had to be.
Okay,
It
because
had
if
to
you
be.
look at this, you have
If we're wrong, then they're bigger dopes than we for not
right
having it in Phoenix. If this wasn't locked down because of a proposed showdown between Errol Spence and
Sebastian Fundora.
Fundora, then we're really befuddled. If
Mm,
that's why, like B said, there's a bit of a free pass here, you have to lock down venues ahead of time. You can't go flubbing the rock
right,
and pulling out of the venue and saying we're going to move it to Phoenix now and da 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 because there's hundreds of thousands of dollars at stake.
sure.
How about is question before we move on? Is Terrell Gausha too good to put him?
I think that's
I think
perfect.
if you want to
And it gives Goucher
correct. You
another
reward. Look,
shot.
we know you got robbed. Here's another chance to showcase your
Yeah, I
skills.
think that's perfect,
Because
actually.
Terrell Gausha looked good to me
Sure.
against Elijah Garcia. I don't know what that kid is going to be. I didn't see much.
I didn't see that.
I'd like to see Terrell Gausha, Ramos next.
I think that's perfect. Sign it up.
He's good. Yeah, let's make that fight. They're in house. It's not hard to make. And you're proving to a guy with Terrell Gausha who fought everyone that you're not leaving him out to dry because you got host. Sebastian Fundora versus Chordale Booker, WBC, WBO titles. I said earlier in the show, this was in 123 episodes, my worst prediction. I can't think of one. I'm pretty good with stuff like that. Look, why guys don't go to the body of a 6'6" junior middle is something I can't wrap my head around. I don't know. Um, when Fundora boxes, he does really well. He doesn't move his head and he gets hit.
Yep.
It didn't really matter because he turned it on in the fourth, let his hands go, and just battered the shit out of him. Brendo picked the knockout and the under. He couldn't
Yeah.
have been more right. I could not have been more wrong. He dropped him. Then Thomas Tate jumped in and stopped it. But I want to say, regardless of this performance, I think these goons at 54 are going to give this kid problems. His defense is too leaky.
Yeah.
Chordale Booker was landing the right hand right up the middle. This guy's head is on the line. He won't fight tall. When
No,
he does, he's doing well.
he's fun. He
He
sure
is.
is fun, but he
He
gets
is.
hit.
He is fun. He's fun. Again,
He
what
can
can I?
fucking crack though.
Yes, man. He dog walked this kid. What can I say, man? I think when I have a tendency, it's clearly getting me in trouble as far as the show is concerned, is when someone's chinny, I'm just waiting. So every pick is like he's gonna get chinned. And the
Yeah.
next one.
Yeah.
If Sebastian Fundora doesn't get a unification fight next and fights Terrell Gausha, I'd be like, I think he's going to get chinned by a 1-2 from Terrell. And I like Sebastian Fundora,
Yeah.
and I think there's skills there. And like you said, when you look at someone, you go, I don't know what's going to happen here, but it's probably always going to be a bloodbath and or fun.
Yeah.
I'm in. I hope it leads to a run back with Timmy, because I'm a big Timmy Zoo fan. I hope it's somehow, man. I don't want anyone skipping mandatories. I don't want anyone skipping the line. I mean, it could be 18 months. You know what I mean?
Right. If
Zoo
if
gets
both
back
guys keep
into
winning.
position, right? If they both keep winning. But how your opinion of how things went down with Kambosos and how we feel about him? I mean, look, I thought this was going to be an upset special. The line was crazy. I thought if you wanted a couple dollars on someone who's a 14-1 favorite, throw a couple dollars. How could I be more wrong? It's impossible to be more wrong than I was. I said two things were going to happen, and they both didn't. I said the over, and I said this guy might get chinned because I've seen him get sparked clean out. I've seen him get dropped.
I mean, I would take Virgil Ortiz Fundora. That's a great fight.
That could be a fucking fight of the year, bloodbath, old school Mexican.
Yeah.
That could be a boxing after dark dream fight. That's a dream fight in 2001, boxing after dark. It's a dream fight. Irish Billy has come in to complain, I think.
I stayed up to watch this one. Well, stayed up, quote air quotes, because it didn't last as long.
I'm pretty early.
Right.
The whole card was
and hey, I gotta say one thing. It looked excellent on Amazon.
It did.
The aesthetics.
I agree.
Very clear picture.
I enjoyed myself for what, 4 rounds? 4 rounds was that?
Yeah, but it's like there's this weird guilt that comes with Billy Betts where I'm like, that was like the worst. It's factually the worst pick I ever gave you.
Well, we had fun. We didn't put too many shekels on it, so I'm bindle sticks.
Bindle sticks,
but we didn't go too crazy on the 14-1 underdog. I'm not.
Yeah.
Are we still up though? Is the question.
Yeah, I mean, on the general consensus, we're up, but it's been a little rough. Like I said, we got to make Pazzi great again, because if Pazzi gets great again, Billy Betts gets great again.
Well, I think you also need to maybe start listening to me. And last week you tried to clown me and say,
we believe that you've hexed me though. So there's a bigger problem.
You mushed Paz.
I Livingstone brambled you.
Yes.
If I bet on your bet,
you got brambled.
Me.
I think you're walking
I'll
around
never
with
win.
a snake on your neck, a snake.
A snack, you said?
I think you fucking put the Maloiks on me, but the fucking Caribbean.
He's got like a voodoo
like Santeria or something. Your wife is Puerto Rican. They know about the Santeria. I think
my sister-in-law believes in that shit.
Yeah, it's a lot of look. We're not going down that road, but listen. I believe you had one of them hex me.
Maybe
one of her cousins
got a little Pazzi doll eye.
Right.
Has your neat feeling.
Right. Exactly.
You're not going to weekend,
but it wasn't a physical thing. It was the picks.
You get weekend at Bernie's.
You had a boxing glove, and they were making a chicken bleed on it. Like the broad in the Steven Seagal movie. Remember when he has a that's they did, but it was a boxing glove. We're gonna win this week. Do we have a line? Irish Billy for Angel Ayala versus.
Okay, so the best we can figure this out is this. Correct. So this said Saturday at 12 midnight. I take that as Friday night
at midnight.
At midnight, right? Isn't that how you take it?
Saturday at midnight.
That would be early Saturday for them, which isn't that weird,
right?
To have a fight card on an early afternoon. I think they're like,
So this is Angel Ayala versus Masamichi Yabuki, who's moving up from junior flyweight to challenge Ayala for his IBF flyweight title. Yabuki currently holds the junior flyweight IBF.
Ibuki only another guy, guys. We sound like broken records here. He only loses to the real deal guys, Junto Nakatani,
Yeah,
Taraji, who we've just both seen last couple of
right.
weeks.
I think Ayala's gonna win.
I do too. I think Masamichi Ibuki has been in there so tough with all of
Yeah, and
those
he's a
guys
smaller
over
guy.
there. Yeah. Ayala's 24. B, when we talk about these guys, they look 70, like the guy that Rolly got, the guy that was beating Rolly and they hosed him.
Yeah,
The
yeah,
Venezuelan guy.
yeah.
Yabuki looks up at 9,000. Is there a line on Angel Ayala, Masamichi Yabuki, Billy? And can you parlay these things? That's the other thing.
You got to parlay
The
these.
thing is, I can't do it in the same fight. That's the problem. That would be
Right.
Yabuki is actually minus 125.
He's the
He's the
favorite.
favorite.
Let me double check because now that you guys are saying that,
I'm all over this Angel Ayala if that's the case.
Yeah.
And I'm all over. And do we have an over under?
yeah, 10.5.
I don't think anyone's getting knocked out.
Me neither.
Ayala can't punch, really. He's good, though. He's good.
He's 18-0.
Yeah, he doesn't really
I
have
said
pop.
16-0, but
We have
yeah.
to figure out
Yeah.
who's right. When is it, Billy? Does it say, how is it? How do they word it? Friday night or Saturday night? They're wording it weird, Billy. This happens with every Japanese fight and every Australian fight. B and this B are trying to figure out, and it's not that it's this weekend, but I'm thinking the same thing with Timmy Zoo.
Right.
Are they going to do it in Sunday afternoon, Australia, so we can watch it on Saturday night? Because it said like Saturday night at 8 p.m. I'm like, here or there?
Yeah, right.
So this says what I'm seeing is Saturday, 3:29 at 2 a.m.
Okay, so that tracks to what I'm
Right,
saying. So it's
midnight.
So
Yeah.
late
Midnight or
night
2.
Friday nights for someone
Right.
like me.
Yeah,
I'm into that. I'm into that.
you'll be watching.
That's all right. Yeah. I'll be in my Duffy. So the main event will be probably 6, 7, 8 a.m. Probably. Bill,
Maybe.
you wake up with those kids.
Yeah, that's usually what time it's been coming on, right?
What time? Yeah.
6 a.m. for the
Yes.
Japanese
What
cards.
time do you have your coffee, Billy?
About 6 a.m.
A little fight, a little bet Saturday morning? No
Ooh,
work.
Let's all get up. Yo, let's get on a Zoom.
Go live?
Go live
Go
on
live.
the YouTube. On the
Go
YouTube.
go live. Yeah, we'll pick
But do
this
it
fight.
live.
Angel Ayala,
Right, versus
Masamichi Yabuki. This is the one we're gonna go live at 6 a.m.
Title, right.
So that
3 idiots.
one other person is gonna jump on that. All right.
Right.
All right. So I'm picking Ayala by decision.
I'm picking Ayala by decision. So I love first
I love
off,
the
if
over.
Billy's right, are you right? He's a dog?
Yeah.
Are they
Plus
thinking
110.
it's so they'll hand in a
Are we
wonky
fucking
card in
stupid or
Japan?
something?
No,
Maybe.
I think
I mean, it's close. It's almost a pick 'em. They're so close.
Yeah.
But Billy, Masamichi Obuki's going up in weight and has lost to elite guys. I'm not calling Ayala elite yet, but he's good. B, they have to be thinking that fucking bad card that was turned in Japan, was it last week or the week
I
before?
mean, Angel Ayala is
He's
ranked
good.
number 1.
He's good. I'll bet Masamichi Obuki isn't even ranked at flyweight.
He's ranked at junior flyweight. He's the
Right,
number
mini
1
fly.
junior.
Right. He's good. He's good. He's got 3, 4 losses, maybe. I think he does.
4. Yeah. But he's
Yeah.
got 16 knockouts. But again, Ayala's
Billy, I'm all over that like a cheap suit. The Angel Ayala or the over, but you can't parlay the both things, correct?
Nah, I haven't been able to.
But
I guess
these-
they're saying because of Yabuki's punching power and just the 4-pound difference in weight.
and
Excuse
if you're
me.
Vegas, they're probably putting a little stock in the fact that it's in Japan. It's
Mhm.
in the guy's backyard, and he's a
Yeah.
deal over there.
All right.
Luis Alberto Lopez versus Eduardo Montoya at feather. Luis Alberto Lopez got sparked clean out by Angelo Leo.
Back from a brain bleed.
And it was brutal, and there was a brain bleed.
So that was August.
Yes.
Now we're into March.
Right. We don't make light of this.
I thought you're supposed to at least be a year.
I thought 12 months and frequent testing during the said 12 months.
But it's Mexico. Do you remember Oscar Larios after
Unfortunately, I do.
Whatchamacallit?
He got done dirty.
By what the hell's the name?
Not Montoya.
No. The guy who Loma stopped, who almost knocked out Devin Haney. What
Oh yeah.
Why is this escaping me?
Linares.
Jorge Linares.
Yeah.
That was Jorge Linares, welcome to boxing. He beat the shit out of Oscar Larios. And I was like, this guy's the future of boxing. He's fucking amazing. He was throwing 87 punch combinations. Every punch was landing.
Yeah.
And Oscar Larios for the rest of his career fought in Mexico because he had a brain bleed. They wouldn't let him fight in the States. So I think we're at the same crossroads with Luis Alberto Lopez. His trainer has said we will see how he reacts to punches. I mean, this is how they do it. We'll see how he reacts to punches.
If he doesn't look on the brink of death, we'll let the next round happen. I'm not making a prediction because I'm not playing ball with this shit.
No, this is crazy.
I want Luis Alberto Lopez to come out healthy. And I'll tell you why I'm not making a pick. If he sparks out Eduardo Montoya, say early, first half of the fight, that proves nothing to me about where he's at. If he doesn't take shots, and if he does take shots, I don't want to fucking know.
Eduardo Montoya is ranked 500th in the division.
Yeah, I mean, Lopez is a very capable guy.
Still top 10.
Yeah, he'll probably pack him up, and then that leads to bigger questions. Then the guy could conceivably be back in the ring with a real threat within a calendar year, which I also don't want someone to lose their job if it's okay. But if you're staying in certain places, like Larios,
right?
Is that who it was?
It was Oscar Larios, yeah.
Right, Oscar Larios. If you're staying in places because of commissions and their willingness to bend or break, I'm not happy with that either. I want him to get Pennsylvania, New York, Vegas, a battery of tests.
Where they're gonna,
a battery somewhere that's going to.
All right, so I'm gonna pick obviously Lopez, and
I think Luis Alberto Lopez packs Eduardo Montoya up. I think this is by design,
as he should.
Yes, as he should. Okay, so guys,
fun stuff.
Yeah, fun stuff. I said, Tevin Farmer beat William Zepeda. He deserves a rematch. They will not run it back. Quickly, they did. Is that because Zepeda doesn't want it with Shakur? I don't know. That is an angle that's being played. I don't think of William Zepeda as a fearful guy. Maybe his team is. That's a different thing.
I don't think we've said this. Does Oscar really doesn't have a stable?
I think he's Petro of the guys out there to put him in there with.
I think so too.
Look,
there's been nothing but excuses from Zepeda's side in terms of that fight coming off with Shakur, and that was supposed to be a showdown. So Zepeda is a buzzsaw. Farmer is a surgeon. We saw the first one. Do you remember
your scorecard? I remember mine.
I had it 7-5 Zepeda, I think.
And then the knockdown.
So
you had it very close with the knockdown, but you think Zepeda eked it out. Yeah, I think I had the flip scorecard, or I had it a draw with Tev winning.
Yeah, I think maybe yeah.
The guy did 95-94.
Okay.
Everyone knows how I feel about Tevin as a fighter, and I don't hide the fact that we're cool in real life. The same way you don't with fighters you're cool with. We try to be as transparent as we can with you guys. I really like William Zepeda. The guy's a fucking buzzsaw. B and I were really high on it. We've seen a couple things in there since then where we think maybe Tevin did. Remember, B, people used to say, "Oh, they showed the blueprint on how to beat Floyd." Remember that?
Mm-hmm.
This is like a poor man's version.
Yeah.
Of okay, this guy's a buzzsaw, so this is the way he look. Tevin boxes beautifully. He always has. He doesn't have a ton of knockouts, and then he'll drop a guy every now and then, or then he'll stop a guy every now and then. It's that power we talk about, P. B. It's a little bit more than keep you honest. He can hurt you with the perfect shot.
Yeah,
you know.
He has success fighting the way he does. If he changes that, there's a chance that something else will be compromised. So he can probably let them off. I'm sure he talked to people who spar Farmer and like, nah, he can crack.
Yeah, I've heard that it's real. You know,
it's
not
again, it's if he compromises the style that brings him success, he may not be as successful.
Well said. Well said.
With that said,
should we not give picks and talk about Oscar Collazo versus Edwin Cano first, real quick?
No.
No? Okay. All right.
I'm thinking, you know what? I'm picking Farmer in this one.
I think Tevin Farmer ekes it out and gets hosed again.
Again?
Yeah.
Double hose job?
Yeah, double hose job. No Diddy. Hey,
Hose job.
puff. A double hose job. I don't want no parts of that, but I think that's what happens to this poor fella.
You got odds on this, Sir William?
This is it. This is in Mexico. Zepeda is from Mexico, correct? He's not a Mexican American, is he?
He's from Mexico. He's
right. It's in Cancun, right?
Cancun.
Let's go.
I knew we said kick. Did you see his ears perk up? He's like, and it's close to spring break.
I absolutely saw his ears.
I mean, it's crazy. It's like when like a fox or like hears like rustling, of like, Billy's just like, whoosh. That's it. If there's a party, Billy gets, Cancun for the fights. And then what do we do after that? We go to Senor Frogs after?
I think we stay for like a week, like 7 days.
Yeah, we're at the resort. Vinny on the beach.
Guy hates sand. No. We'll have to carry him like he's a sultan.
It'll be on and off the sand.
Weekend of Vinny swimming up to the pool bar.
Yeah. Weekend of
You 100% skeeve sand, right?
Oh, it's fucking grotesque. I'm wearing like fucking 40 below troopers.
This is 100%. This is an Italian thing through and through. They skeeve sand. They go to the beach fully clothed.
Look, wife beater, dress shorts, dress socks, and dress shoes, but on the beach.
On the beach.
Bouffant, flowing. Look, Oscar. Look, B just told you guys. You don't need to be told. Oscar's stable or lack thereof is dwindling. He's putting stock in a lot of kids who are 4-0, 6-0, who we don't know what they're going to be yet. Doesn't mean one of them's not going to be a star. Ryan is his. Ryan is fighting very soon.
Right.
Ryan's his guy. I don't see. I think Tevin is always going to be someone who gets the bad end of any decision. And while he has power to hurt you, it's not concussive enough where you go, he's got to stop him, B. Well, yeah, probably, but is that realistic? He dropped him. How hurt did you? But let's look back. How hurt was he? From 1 to 10. 1 is like, I got caught off balance. 10 is I might wave this off. A 3?
It was a 3. Yeah.
I agree. I think it was a 3. I don't know if you look, you get people like you and I can be irresponsible when we say certain things. No, I'm being honest. Because in my head, I'm fucking telling Tevin to throw the fucking kitchen sink at him. Guess what the flip side of that is? You fucking did him dirty the first time and made him look goofy.
Right.
So what do you do, Brendan? Do you say, look, we beat him the first time with beautiful boxing. Let's do it again.
If I'm his trainer?
Yes.
That's what we're doing. That's what we're doing. Same thing. Don't change nothing because Zepeda's not going to change anything.
I don't think he can. I think Tevin can.
Well, I think that
you say, look, let's do this. We did it once, but sit down on some of those shots a little bit more. Let's see. You heard him once. It was a real knockdown. It wasn't a slip.
Sure. I don't think anything changes from either guy, and I think that the judges get a better look at Farmer, and I think Farmer, the boxer, should do better this time around.
Billy Tev's from Philly, good dude, super talented. Took some early losses, Billy, when he was a kid, and just was taking mad fights. To me, he won the first fight and got robbed. Bill,
I think that he's going to beat Zepeda this time.
My pick is that Tevin does what he did, and I don't trust the score. I don't trust the scorecards. So what? For the sake of the show, do I got to stand feet on land and make a pick, Billy?
No, you made a pick.
So my pick can be: I think Tev wins to our eye and gets jobbed.
I think he wins and wins.
Okay, but I'm saying you're okay with me saying I think he
I'm
wins.
fine.
Okay,
I don't. That's not.
I don't know what you want to do there, but I definitely, Billy, B might agree with me. It's probably, I don't like to call anything.
It's 10.5.
Especially, is it 12 rounds or 10?
I didn't have rounds, but Zepeda is -600, Tevin plus 450.
Yeah, I mean,
it's got to be
no respect.
It's a 12 rounder.
I think won.
It's a 12 rounder this time because it's for the WBC interim. They're throwing some.
This Tevin Farmer's got a.
Well, they're both for the interim belt.
Chin on him.
Yeah, I think Tevin's going to beat him this time around.
Look, look.
It disrupts that division, and then Tevin and Shakur get it on.
I love for you to be right, and I'm not going to come on here and go, I was wrong, because I think we're talking about a corrupt sport. I think Tev does the job inside the four corners.
No, you're covered.
No, I'm not trying to say I can't. Yeah. I'm just saying I'm coming off a really fucking awful, picking fucking Chordale Booker. This guy made me look like a real fucking jerk, this Chordale Booker. So
you wrote him a nasty, you penned him a nasty letter.
I want to write him and say, my guy, could you fucking help me out a little bit? The right hand was landing. What happened? On the undercard is Oscar Collazo, who went from, he was sort of like a Pazzi prospect, but
then he made it to our.
Well, you can't call him that because the guy's got belts.
Right.
But it's also, well, can you be called that when no one knows who you are and you have belts? And you were like, no, you put your foot down and got all cranky about it. When I was like, well, if no one knows about him, Oscar Collazo,
we're here to tell you about him.
He was he cracked our top 10.
Sure.
Benavidez beat Morel and took him out. Look, you could argue a couple of the guys on the fight from Japan could now make the top 10. I think one of them cracked the Ring magazine. Was it Taraji that cracked the Ring magazine?
Yeah. Top
10 this week. He is a top 10 caliber guy, guys. Oscar Collazo. He fights at minimum weight. It's
the jockeys.
Yes, I'd like to say it was some sort of exaggeration. You can't get smaller.
Okay, so Kano's not ranked. This should be a steamroll here.
What's the over-under, Billy? Oscar Collazo, Edwin Cano.
I didn't see an over-under, but Collazo is like -3,000.
But are you going to play the parlay? So if you're not doing over and under, you can't do over and unders and a pick. Are you going to do a 3-fight parlay? We give you the winner?
We could do that.
I mean,
all right. I'm going to say Collazo.
I think he beats the shit out of him.
Stops him.
I think the ref stops it in 7. B is
in 5.
5. I think the ref jumps in. Oscar Collazo's too good. His feet are too good. Fighting. He lives in Villalba in PR. He was born in Newark. So, if there's a guy in these smaller divisions, B, we've talked about trying to figure out how to make Bama star. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Oscar Collazo, Puerto Rican, for East Coast, multilingual. You know what I mean? It's low-hanging fruit, but people won't watch minimum weight. So Collazo's got to make them watch. He's on. This is a nice card to be on. You know what I'm saying? It's not a pay-per-view. People can watch it. This is the zone. Guys, I'm repeating. If you're not familiar with Oscar Collazo, B and I had him in our top 10 pound for pound. Benavidez's
That we did.
performance was so good that he got bumped off. Nothing, not to do to nothing that he did. And a couple of Japanese guys, because we have Junto Nakatani on our, a couple of them are creeping in. Any of these guys put in a bad performance or start playing weird games, and there's people, what do they say, nipping at their heels, B? Is that the old saying? There's 2 or 3 guys nipping at the heels to break our top 10. For if any of these guys take a monster L or do something goofy or stupid, or, you know, stick their tongue out and drop their hands and get fucking cracked in the head and fall off of the pound for
Yeah,
pound.
busted in the lip. You know what I'm saying?
Right. Punch him right in his fucking mouth.
Right in his fucking teeth.
So Billy Betts has the Angel Ayala is apparently a fucking dog, and we both like that over, I think.
Right. What are the odds on Collazo Edwin Cano?
He said it's like 3,000 or something for Collazo, like minus.
Right. Sorry, I missed that.
He's basically, guys, basically what Billy is telling you is basically like a 30-1 favorite. Oscar Collazo.
Collazo's gonna beat the shit out of him.
I just think he lays hands on him again. This guy's beautiful to watch. He's so good, man, and I hope he's able to, at 28 years old, the guy's 5'2" or 100. What's minimum weight? 105 pounds, really?
108, under 108 pounds.
Yeah, I mean, all right. So, but if there's someone that has it, he's got the smile, bilingual, nothing to not like about the kid. I wish they could, I wish some of these smaller weights could, but there's a good card to have it on.
Sure.
And yo, respect to these guys for running this back and them making it. So respect to, are they Matchroom guys, or is that Oscar?
Oscar.
Respect to Oscar for making this fight. Maybe it's B really, really, truly feels like he's got to protect Zepeda, and that's why it's getting made. And I'm cool with that.
I just confirmed Murataya, who's also in that division, is a top ranked guy, and I think I
thought you were going to say Oscar.
No, and I think like 3 or 4 months ago, I thought Murataya was a golden boy guy, but he's not. So I mean, really, Oscar could get frozen out if Zepeda loses and not get a piece of any of the pie of any of these guys at 35.
Part of my prediction, and why it's part of that prediction.
Part of for the job.
Look,
there's a job on the horizon.
Double host, no puff.
The double hose special. Anyway, all right. You guys can find me at I_know_that_kid. At the Killer B24 on Twitter. Write us at kotbboxing@gmail.com. Follow us at KOTBboxing on IG and at KOTB podcast on YouTube. Mr. Paz.
Yes. Our friend Dan Morley wrote a book. Yeah.
I almost left that off. Good.
I purchased
Sorry,
it.
Dan.
I purchased it last night in the middle of the night. Dan's such a nice guy. He goes, sorry I didn't send it. I was asleep. I'm like, maniac. It was the middle of the night for you and me. No person is up now. What are you apologizing for? Dan is, look, he's an undefeated fighter. He's a pundit. He podcasts, and he's an analyst, and he's good at all of them. A nicer guy you could not meet. Dan Morley Boxing, The Immortals of the Ring. A professional boxer's analysis of boxing's 9 unrivaled legends. This is really good stuff.
Yeah.
It's an ebook. Just go to Dan's IG. It's Dan Morley Boxing on IG. Just go there and you can buy it from him, and it's not expensive. And it just
I spoke to him the other day and I told him he's a true Renaissance man.
Dan's great, man. Dan's just a really good dude on top of all of this.
This is a guy that you'll be hearing about for the next 30 or 40 years in the sport. If I'm going to make a prediction, he will get fights, excuse me, and beyond that, he will be hired, as he should be, by boxing outlets to either give his analysis, break down fights, or do blow by blow on ringside, because he's fantastic.
Yeah.
And congratulations, Dan.
Absolutely. Shout out Mario Lopez for repping the Knock 'em Out the Box shirt. Steve Kim for repping the Knock 'em Out the Box shirt. We sent the pic. I didn't know if Mario was comfortable with us posting it because he's a public figure,
Yeah, we'll post it.
But yeah, so shout out to them too. Yeah, at Vinny_Paz on Twitter, at Box Cutter Pazzi on Instagram, jmtstore.com for said shirts. And
Yeah, if you want to look like Mario Lopez,
right.
get
And that
yourself a
doesn't
knock him out the
everyone?
box shirt, and you automatically become as handsome as Mario Lopez.
Doesn't right.
That's not a
That's
ringing
what
endorsement to wear our shirt.
that's what our shirts do. Our show
Right.
does it. Our show makes you a hunk, and wearing the shirt makes you a hunk.
Facts.
Look, Billy and I were out this past week shooting a new video. We'll keep you updated when we'll drop that, and it'll be on um the streaming platforms. And Billy, what do we have upcoming? Like bundles and stuff, right? We'll be announcing that soon, pre-orders and all that soon. We're not ready to do it yet, but that's coming soon, right?
Yeah,
In
pre-orders will
April.
be going up very soon.
Okay. Yeah. So, bundles, all of that. The new record drops on April 25th. It's called God Sent Vengeance, Telephone, Tell a Friend, Telemundo. And yeah,
And
I
it's,
guess
it's
that's
the this is the last right? The last part of the album in terms
yes,
of
this is the
yes.
third and final of the God trilogy. So it was put together to be an extension of the last two records, not including the EP, obviously, which looked totally different and sounded different. But yes, if you like those two records, you're gonna love this. If you didn't, you throw it in the trash can, I guess, because it's an
If you didn't,
extension.
we don't like you. How about
Right.
that?
Right. All right. We'll see you maniacs next week.
Say goodnight, Billy.
Good night, Billy.